welcome back to the channel. We are answering the questions from the Instagram related to Vedic astrology. So this is the episode 16. If you are brand new here, my name is rgendarz and this channel is all about Vedic astrology in the tradition of Sri Achyutananda with a research, example and analytical based approach. The first question about Desa, Kala, Patra. If we are using this in astrology, so Desa is the place, the Kala is the time, and Patra are the circumstances. Interestingly, Sanjay ji, in the last video, in the Vimshotri Dasha, he is saying that Kala is the time and the Patra is the experience. And this is in the context of Moon Vimshotri, which is showing the time, how things are going on in the world, and how is our response to these events, which is the variation dasha. So if we see the shlokas in the Parashara, Horashastra, then definitely we take that into consideration. There are also shlokas which says that if this and this yoga is present in the chart, then for this class it gives this result. For a person who was born in the wealthy family, it makes one very king. So we take into consideration also the start. So I would say this has to do with this translation from the symbol to the metaphysical idea, which is like Platonic idea, and then from that idea to this manifestation in this world. So we could say that this idea is multiplying the factor from which we start. So what is objective is that multiplier, but we have to consideration what is multiplied, which is the Kala, Desa and Patra. So this is the factor from which we are all starting. The second question is how to make the moon strong as the mind is controlling everything. This is kind of tricky. Yes, the moon is the karaka of the manasa, of the mind, but the mind is also seen in many other places. For example, mind is in the 4th house. Also part of the mind is in the Atmakaraka, because the Atmakaraka is not the soul, it is the spirit. The spirit is something between the soul and the mind. Also, the mind works very strongly on the level of both Karaka, which is Naisargika Karaka, the planets, like Venus is for relationship and marriage, Mercury is for growth, education, career life, the Saturn is for our challenges and suffering and ailments and denial or delays, all that. So the mind is very much connected to the Karaka level, how we experience that. I was talking about that inside and outside of Karaka in the last videos, very intensely in the 4 parts. And also the mind is very much into the Arudas, because the Karaka of the Aruda is the moon. This is a very binary concept, because even how we calculate the Aruda is based on the reflection, which is also the method of the moon. So the mind experience is attached to many points, even in D27 and so on. So just to answer that question shortly, the best way to make that moon pure is through Vishnu mantras, to make it strong is through Shiva mantras. But the mind works on many aspects of the chart. The next question, what causes social anxiety, introversion, depression and so on, I've answered in my short and reel on Instagram and YouTube, and also on the foreign settlements. So these 2 questions are answered in this way. And now when it comes to the foreign spouse, Upapada and 7th house has to be somehow related to the nodes or a Jataka or the 12th house. I would be very surprised, and you can send me the chart in the comments if you have find some chart, if someone was married to a foreign spouse and the yoga is not there, I would gladly analyze this chart. Also, I have seen that 7th Lord in the 6th or 12th often shows the distance issues, especially when also is connected to the airy planets like Saturn and Rahu. A few days back I did compatibility reading for a girl from Poland and a guy from Germany, and also they had this yoga. In this girl's chart it was Rahu in the Navamsha, 7th Lord in the 12th house in the Navamsha, and in the Rasi chart it was 7th Lord Saturn in the 6th house, and in the guy's chart it was Saturn 7th Lord in the 5th house. So it was also Saturn related to some kind of journey. Ayu is about the movement, about the air. So when there is some distance issues, the Saturn, air, Rahu, and then the 7th Lord in 6, 12, nodes connected to the Upapada and especially 7th house in the Navamsha. Okay, if you like this video so far, please click the thumbs up. It helps me with the algorithm to make this video visible on this platform. Subscribe if you'd like to get notified about similar videos in the future. And now let's go back to these questions. And the next question is about how many times we have to do the mantra to get the results. So normally we say that we are doing the 40 days number of malas related to number of words in the mantra. For example, if you have mantra like Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, which has 4 words, then we are doing 432 times a day, which is 4 times 108. So 108 is 1 mala, and this is the old rule in the Vedic text. To get results for 1 year, we are doing this 40-day sadhana, also to attain something siddhi. Siddhi is perfection of the mantra, to get some kind of results. So I would say that what we do is we are finding which year is dangerous for something, like for disease or some career life problems, relationship problems, maybe possibility of separation or divorce. And 1 year before, we are doing the sadhana to be prepared for that year. So if you are doing for 40 days the sadhana, then you are preparing yourself for 1 year. So from that perspective, it's a very good time and energy investment. Next question about hearing, touching, which planet. So this is more about the houses. So normally the senses are from 1st to 5th. For example, we have the 2nd house as eyes. And now the dharma is important, because the dharma is the function. So the function of the eyes is to see, therefore always see 9th house from this organ. So eyes as an organ, right, is in the 2nd house, but the dharma, right, like Prabhupada said, that the dharma is the function of something. Dharma of fire is to give light and also temperature, the burn. So therefore the 9th from 2nd is 10th. So the sight is in 10th, the listening or hearing is in the 11th house, because ears are in the 3rd house, so 9 from the 3rd is 11, so listening is in the 11th house. The next question is about the ethics, chart reading with stri-Jataka. I don't know what's really the question here, but I know that Freedom Cole, very good student of Sanjay Rat, was also giving the lecture about the ethics of reading. So probably you can get some answers there. I would say that general baseline of ethics is almost identical to psychological consultations. So the privacy, you are starting with the positive, ending with the positive. Always you have to balance the problem with the remedy, and give the value, give the help to the person. So basically our mission is to give the timing of change, possibility of change, how you can change the challenge, the problem, and what you can do. So the upaya, to give the remedy, mantra, jams, any Vedic upayas. The next question is how to see spiritual level or interest in the chart. So again, we can see that in many levels. We can see from lords. For example, if the Lagna Lord have a good sambandha with the 12th Lord, it gives person into renunciation. Similarly, if the dispositor of Lagna Lord or Atmakaraka is in the Dushtana, then it also makes person into the spirituality. From the Aruda Lagna perspective, we have the Mercury, Venus normally are in the 3rd, 6th or 12th from the Aruda Lagna to reject the Rajas. Also the Vimshamsa has to show spirituality, Navamsha has to be very strong. So we have also the question, there was a question, enlightened master. So for me, the good example is Srila Prabhupada. So you can study his chart. He has Mercury and Venus in 6th from the Aruda Lagna. His Navamsha, Jupiter in 5th, shows a very high knowledge of the Vedas, of the Puranas. He has also that 5th Lord of mantra with the moon exalted. So his mantra was very strong. And that Mars was also the 12th Lord. And the 12th Lord Mars is also in the Kendra to his Lagna Lord Jupiter. So we have the 12th Lord of renunciation and moksha in the Kendra to the Lagna Lord. There are a few yogas, but that would be a good start. Next question is about the remedies of the panchanga dosha. So for these are normally quite heavy dosha, and we are trying to use the big devatas. So for example, the tattva devatas. Normally the panchanga doshas are all about the tattva, because the panchanga itself is on the level of tattva, right? So we have like Om, then we have a guna, 3 gunas, then we have a tattva, and then more and more elements, right? So this is a part of essentialism, we could say. Here we have this tattva, this primary elements like fire, water, ether, and so on. This is all on this level of panchanga. So we know that these devatas of the elements, like Durga is for water, for air we have Shiva, for fire we have Surya or Aditya, for ether we have Vishnu, and so on. So depending what is the problem, we can give this tattva devata. This will be a good start and good remedy for these panchanga doshas. And also which house to use for which element, the other question. For Vara we are using the first house as the reference, for Titi 4th house, for the nakshatra we use the 7th house, and for the Karana we are using 10th house as the reference. So you can see how the planet is placed from that particular Kendra. For example, for a Titi, for emotion, if it has good relationship with the 4th house, then it basically shows that you have very good home life. You can basically bring the relationship into home. You can have a nice family. So it's a good indication of that good relationship. And the nakshatra is with the 7th house, because all these 7th house and the nakshatra, they are all about the vayu, about the movement, about the prana. If the prana is stopped in the body, then there is the death. So the 7th house has to move. And what is the relationship of that air in the 7th house to the nakshatra? And similarly, Karana is all about the achievement, about the flexibility, because Mercury is the good learner. He is learning all the time, and he can apply his skills to get results, to get the Raja Yoga, to get also financial security. So how the Karana is placed from the 10th house? This is the answer. Also the question about Graha Malika Yoga, I have recorded a YouTube about that, so you can see the video. You can search Graha Malika on my channel to find this video, and yes, there are the basics how to analyze this yoga. Then we have a very broad question, how to see the results from Chandra Lagna. So the basic would be that the Chandra is the mind, how your mind perceives different things. So the 12th house from the moon is your family, home life. The 2nd house from the moon is the work. Like we have this work and family balance, right? Or work and leisure balance. So this is 12th and 2nd. How is the balance? The dispositor of moon is very important for psychological health and also for the ethics. 10th from the moon is the best place. It is the fame, income, food to our table, also our reputation. So if you have malefics there, the Shastra says, then you will have bad reputation, according to the Sharavali, for example. In the 4th from moon, you have the Kavacha or protection. So if that house is afflicted, it can bring diseases, some kind of danger, problems. So basically all the houses from Chandra will show how your mind is reacting to various things. And Sanjayji says also in the last Vimshotri lecture that houses from moon are very important, because if the mind doesn't support something, then you will not get it. No? If you have Raja Yoga from the Lagna, but the moon is not somehow giving its blessings, we could say, right? Then it will not happen. And also we say that the B.V. Raman was very much accentuating the importance of reading the chart also from the moon, from the Chandra. And the next question is about the romance and a long-term partnership. This is quite hard question. Normally we say that A7, the Darapada, is more about the relationship. The Upapada is about the someone whom you try to build family, relationship, and so on. And we say that if you are with someone 1 year, or at least mentally with someone 1 year, then it can be a Upapada. So there are various tools to distinguish. For example, if Venus in Navamsha is activated, it's more about love. 7th house, 7th lord, it can be meeting, partnership, or marriage. And similarly, if this is in the Rashi 12th house, then the dating is happening. But if the 7th house in the Navamsha is not activated, then it may not turn to something serious. Okay guys, so that's gonna be it from me. I hope you find it interesting and informative. If you do, please click that thumbs up, subscribe for more, and see you in the next one.